people of our community that we see in Aotearoa as well. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
I call the honourable member Andrew Little.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. It's a pleasure to speak once again on this very important piece of legislation and to remind the House that once again that the citizens' rights to privacy is absolutely fundamental in the type of liberal democracy that we have and that we cherish in this country. The ability for the citizen to go about their tasks and their duties and their responsibilities and in their interactions with government in a way that their interests and their privacy is protected and that they can have some confidence that it is going to be protected. And none of that is to denounce the worthy objectives of this piece of legislation, which is why the Labor Party supports it in this House. Nothing is to detract from the benefits that can be gained from a rigorous and proper information sharing arrangement between agencies, noting, however, that the bill covers not just public agencies but private agencies as well. But let's understand, though, too, that it is not just a question of achieving a balance, and members opposite talk about this balance. There are some rights that are absolute, and there are some interests that if they are not absolute, they border on it. And the right for citizens to preserve information about themselves, either through not being compelled to disclose or having disclosed that information, to have it protected and preserved from the prying eyes of the general public, that is pretty fundamental. And so we look at this bill through that sort of lens, and we never take for granted that when the state says it will be good and proper in all it does with citizens' rights and responsibilities, we do not take that at face value. And it is the role of this House and every member in it to ensure that legislation that passes through here that impinges upon or has the potential to impinge upon or bear upon citizens' rights is given the utmost scrutiny. And I accept the last speaker, Alfred Naro's assurances that the Select Committee did a thorough job. But now, at this point, the rest of the House gets a chance to have a look. And it is important that those who weren't on the committee and actively involved in it get to scrutinise the work that was done and see that what is brought back here. And so, sir, the starting point must be that personal information, the personal information of every citizen must be protected to the greatest extent possible. And we know why. Look what happens when there are breaches of privacy. The public reaction is phenomenal. And it is always emphasised, and it is always emphatic, because people are fearful when their information is improperly disclosed, whether to the public at large or to other citizens in an improper way. And we saw that with ACC. And the Minister and the Chair knows that absolutely, and I accept that he respects the agencies like ACC, who are agencies gathering some of the most sensitive information that could possibly be gathered from citizens, not just those in the conventional sensitive claims unit sense, but any medical information that is disclosed to a state agency is always going to be ultra-sensitive. And so when information about individuals is disclosed, then that is a matter of considerable public concern and outcry, as we have seen. And indeed, not just ACC, but Inland Revenue. Indeed, in the education sector, we've had information disclosed through the hapless NovaPay system. And you can see it actually in the experiences of the former Minister responsible for NovaPay, Craig Foss, who, when he took up that responsibility, began discharging his responsibilities, nervous about it, and by chewing his nails. Well, things have got so bad even since he's discharged that responsibility, that he's now down to chewing his right arm. That's how bad it is. That's how concerned they are about the breaches of privacy entailed by NovaPay, is that the previous minister has stopped chewing his nails, he's now chewing his entire right arm. That's how bad it is. And it's for that reason that we should be very concerned, sir, when we look at a bill that is about giving state agencies the power to share information. Now, I accept that by and large the regime that is set out in this bill for information sharing is a good one. It requires the agencies to be clear and explicit about the purposes of the information sharing, what it's going to be used for. There's oversight by the Privacy Commissioner. Anybody whose information has been shared and where that leads to adverse consequences is to be notified and they have an opportunity to correct any misinformation that is involved. That is all good stuff. But there is at least one arbitrary power in this that concerns me, and that is the ability for the lead agency in any information sharing agreement to change the schedule.
Mr Chairman.
I call the Honourable Dr Nick Smith.
Mr Chairman, can I compliment